Here's another interesting clip, right?
If you want women to date you, you should not criticize them for being responsible single parents. Like women who are legitimately responsible single parents. You should not be shaming us when somebody else made the decision to not grow up and be a responsible adult. Okay? And a lot of us, regardless of what gender we are, grew up in dysfunctional homes and weren't taught how to choose a partner. So some people, sometimes we end up gravitating towards something that we didn't even realize was totally toxic just because it was like familiar or whatever it is. We're all young. All people find other people attractive. Like sometimes that's if you want women to date you.
The lack of accountability, right? The lack of understanding. Here's the thing where you should hold women accountable. You should hold everyone accountable for their actions, okay? Period. Right? You should hold everyone accountable for their words and their actions. And then giving them critiques, giving them like your thoughts on it, well, that's, people giving you your opinions. Because here's the thing. The insanity that you blame things on your being young and dumb, I think that's idiotic. It's so idiotic to blame, because this is the thing, right? That shows you your lack of intelligence, your lack of accountability when you constantly blame shit on being young and dumb. Because, right? Here's the thing. Young people know to not cheat. They still do. Young people know to not steal. They still do. Young people know to not commit crimes. They still do. Young people know not to have kids out of wedlock. And they still do. Young people know that, it's better to marry before you carry. And they still do. Young people know that, you should wrap it up. Right? And they still don't. This is a thing where I hate the whole thing where the whole frontal lobe crap, all this, because it's then we are constantly bailing people out of accountability, right? We are taking away the consequences. Oh, because you're young and dumb, it's okay, right? It's okay you did shit when you're young. Really? That's not how it works. That's not how real world works, because honestly, there are consequences to actions. If you had a kid when you were young, I'm sorry. It's terrible that you made a stupid mistake, but you made a mistake. But mistakes comes with consequences, and it just not just comes with one, right? Yes, the consequences, you have a child, but they don't mean that you won't have other consequences, right? Where it gets harder to find a man. It's harder to find a good man. Because here's the thing, not everyone makes those same stupid mistakes. So really, that does. I mean, like if everyone made that mistake, then you know what? Maybe it's more understanding. Not everyone makes it. And look at this, right? How many times people tell you don't go for the bad boys, right? Like school, you don't go for the jocks, don't go for the players, don't go for the like. Seriously, you don't. It's like you choose these men. Period. You chose them, right? Vetting them is like. It's like, oh, how no one taught me how to vet men. Really? Really? No one taught you how to vet men. How about don't go for the jocks. Don't go for the men that have options, have many women that want them. How about that?
You should not criticize them for being responsible single parents. Like women who are legitimately responsible single.
Here's the thing. No one criticized single parents for being good parents. No. They do criticize for you for becoming a single parent. Those are two different things, okay? You can be a good parent. It don't mean you take away the consequences of you becoming a single parent. Because here's the thing, it's important to know why she became a single parent. When you date women, let's say you date single parents, right? Single mothers. It's important to know how she became a single parent, right? Oh, you know what? I chose a man that cheated and I didn't want to be with him anymore. So you gave a child to a man that cheated. It's good to know these things, right? Good to know what kind of what kind of person how good her, judgment in people are, because it says a lot about her.
Parents, you should not be shaming us when somebody else made the decision to not grow up and be a responsible adult. Okay? And a lot.
This is the thing, right? They didn't grow up to be responsible adult. How about not having kids when you're a kid? Right? It's like, so you can. It's like, this is the thing, right? And this is probably a controversial opinion. I think a lot of women don't put time into relationships. They don't put time. Let's say the period where they meet the man, and the period to when they can have they become pregnant. In my opinion, usually that time period is less than a year. I don't have no data. I have no studies to back what I'm saying up, right? But just what I have been seeing, right? The things I heard, the things I've seen. By my estimate, by my guesstimate, right? Most of these single moms, they have been with these men less than a year. By the time they had kids, at least, right? By the time they had this man's kid, they've been with this man less than a year. If a year, okay? So, for a man you barely know, more than a year, you already had his kid. So really, honestly, how can you blame a man that you did not know well enough, yet you still chose to have his child? Like, at the end of the day, you didn't know him well. You still thought he was good enough, right? To have a child. He must have been good in the bed, good like the big D, right? Whatever. Right? Good, good charmer, know how to talk a good game. And that made you putty in his hands. Let him get into those draws.
A lot of us, regardless of what gender we are, grew up in dysfunctional homes and weren't taught.
Here's the thing, right? Am I sympathetic about bad parenting, bad dysfunctional homes? Yes. I mean, it's understandable. But here's the thing. Even as a kid, right? No one is telling me specifically don't steal. But as a kid, I know not to steal. Because there's things that either your parents teach you, society have taught you, or society, entertainment, TV, whatever, social media, what you understand, right? Most people, they understand the concept of good and evil, bad and good, whatever, right? They do understand that concept, and a lot of times people do understand that you shouldn't have kids when you're still a kid. That's a concept I'm pretty sure a lot of people should know. I mean, maybe sad that you weren't taught it, but do you think it was a good thing to have a kid when you're still a kid? It's like this is the thing where it seems like people lack common sense. So here's the thing. It shows you that you lack common sense when you were at that age. So you're stupid. It doesn't bode well to say that as an adult. Have you gotten more intelligent? It's kind of doubtful.
How to choose a partner. So some people, sometimes we end up gravitating towards something that we didn't even realize was totally toxic just because it was like familiar or whatever it is. We're all young. All people find other.
Here's the thing, right? Do we choose bad partners? Yes, we do, right? It's a learning experience, right? But this is a thing where, at the end of the day, We live in the real world. No one owes you understanding. You're not owed understanding. You're not owed, sympathy. You're not really owed pretty much anything. Okay? In life, there's always going to be consequences, good or bad. There's always going to be consequences to your actions. So, be an adult and accept those consequences. Learn to work around it, right? This is the thing, right? I can never understand this. Where you are at a deficit, right? Here's a single mom. She's at a deficit for making stupid mistakes in her past. She's living her consequences. Since you are at a deficit as a woman, how about make it up, right? Be super loving, super feminine. It's like there's ways to, go about it. Even as a single mom, you want the guy that you want. Well, be better. This is the thing where, honestly, women lack the sense of competition, right? It's like, oh, I don't want to take accountability for my stupid actions, but you know what? I don't need to compete with women. I don't need to compete with other people. So really, take me as I am. Okay, well, you ain't gonna get nobody. You ain't getting nobody good. This is the thing where, if you take accountability, right? Understand your mistakes, understand the things you've done wrong. Maybe now you see that, you know what? I get it. I'm not owed understanding, sympathy, whatever. And I'm not, let's say this, right? I was a 5 before. The mistakes I've made have brought me down to a 3. So let me compensate for other areas where, you know what, I could probably bring myself back up to a 5, maybe, rank myself better by, being loving, being caring, choosing. Now that I'm like, whatever, however she is, right? Mid-20s, mid-30s, whatever. You know what? Maybe I should choose better men, be a better woman, right? Make him feel like he's important, be a loving wife, show him that I can be a loving wife. This is the thing where stop blaming your other men, stop blaming your ex, stop blaming your past, okay? View your mistakes and you know what? Do better. Be better. Surprise, surprise, that's maybe not a crazy concept that a lot of women are not understanding, okay? Stop thinking that men should accept you for who you are. Because honestly, you don't accept men for who they are. You don't. So this is the point where, you know what? How about improve? Be better. But that's women for you. What do you guys think?